We're live?
It
I think
says
we
that
are.
we are. So what I'm doing right now is I'm hoping that either someone will comment or I can get on my Facebook group on my phone.
Oh, I just got a notification that says Allison is live. So
Woohoo!
you're
We
good.
did it. I
Yeah,
see
so
us
did
right
I.
there. Awesome. Yay! Well, I'm thrilled to have you guys here for my first live. Two very patient people as I figure this out. And I really do appreciate that. And also, two people who have a fantastic product that I have been thrilled to know about for months and to watch kind of grow and change. And so I guess I'm going to let you guys just lead the conversation and we'll just hear what you have to tell us about that's brand new.
Sure.
Exciting news. Yeah.
Okay, well, great. Thanks for having us, Allison. My name is Laurent. I'm one of the co-founders of Schoolified. Some of you may already know me, but my quick story is I'm a dad first and foremost, and a husband. And when I think it was over 2 years ago, sadly, I found myself at home with my two kids and my wife, and we had to reinvent ourselves. I was exposed to the dramatic downfall of how can I get my kids to get a proper education? How can I actually support them? And all the teachers out there, the courageous teachers, the ones I like to call essential workers, were trying to figure this out. But the technology was not there. And it was a struggle for everyone. And that was kind of the genesis is how can I actually support my kids? How can I actually support the teachers in actually helping my kids become the adults we want them to become? And that's where I met my co-founder. He was pulling his hair as well. And we thought, this whole Zoom thing, this whole like video first thing just doesn't work when you're trying to teach a group of kids. It can be fine when you're like on a one-on-one. But even if you're on a one-on-one, you still have to manage all those different technologies and all those things. And the lack of engagement, the lack of attention, the lack of what makes a classroom a real great experience. We all remember our fourth grade teacher, by the way. I don't know why fourth grade, but I think that must be, a time in your life and time in your brain where your memory kind of starts connecting. But I remember when I was a kid in fourth grade, I remember Mr. Moneyham. Okay. At the time I lived in Edina, Minnesota. So I don't know if we have any listeners here who are from Minnesota, but Mr. Moneyham is probably retired now. But he was this great, incredible teacher because he was able to actually create that connection. And I think that connection is what has been missing in kind of remote learning. It's been really, really hard for teachers to kind of manage that screen, manage that content, manage that attention. And that's what we all built, right? And that was our first focus, is building a great classroom experience. And then we built a whole suite of tools around it to make sure that dedicated teachers who wanted to go independent, who wanted to actually make a living teaching rather than becoming an Uber driver or doing deliveries or working in a store, could actually make a decent living by scaling from starting from one-on-one and then scaling to groups. And we have dozens of teachers who are actually doing just that. And we're building those tools for them to actually be able to do that. And it's a complicated journey. And we went through many different cycles, as any startup does. But what was really amazing, I would say, in the past 5 months is that we got a lot of feedback, including from you, Allison, and including from many others who were early adopters and said, oh, this is great, but I'm really missing this, and I'm really missing that, and it's complicated, and it's this, and it's that. And all of those things were coming in. And we said, okay, well, this is great. This is the most beautiful experience we can have, is happy users, because we've been building this for teachers. We've been building this to actually build the right tools. And we really are, I'd like to call this co-building, because that's what we want to do, because our only focus is giving you the right tools, because if you're happy, we're happy. I think there's something very clear in all those systems and platforms is there's really two worlds. There is a world of marketplaces where it's Yout schools and there's the varsity tutors and many others. Okay. And, they give you clients. This is great, but there's a cost behind it, is that they're going to take a big cut, right? And you still need to manage a lot of things and technologies and things like that. And then there's another world is you go independent, but then you have to figure it out. you have to assemble all those tools, the billing system, the scheduling, the remote classroom, the whiteboard, the content management, all of those things. And we're right in the middle, because what we do is that we don't take commission. 100% of the revenue you generate giving classes goes back to you. That's point one. But we also give you all the tools that you need to actually build your business. And that's what we've been working on for 2 years. That's what we've been refining. And we just did a big release a couple of hours ago. I think when we talk in software development, we call things which are cards, which are things that need to be done. I think we released about 125
today.
Today.
Oh my gosh.
Today.
Wow.
So it's a lot. And it basically addresses a lot of needs that, from the feedback we got. And rather than just talk about it, I'm just going to show you, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
And if you've ever created an account on Schoolified, I would recommend that you log back in, because you're going to see that everything is very different. I don't know how I can do screen share here. I think it's this one. Share screen, and I'm going to show the tab.
Allison, while he's doing that, what are your thoughts? What were your thoughts on Schoolified when you first heard about it, and just over your time walking with us?
So I think one of the things that I think that Laurent just has been sharing that is so important is that you guys are listening to the teachers. And I'm sure that you guys are still doing focus groups, and I just want to encourage anybody who's interested in doing that just to tag either one of these gentlemen, because they're both in our group, and just let them know that you're interested, because they want to hear from teachers, and especially those of you who are wanting to be independent, again, just like Laurent said, and are wanting to do this to make your income for your household, scaling it, that sort of thing. You have great feedback because you've been doing this. You know what we need. And they are wonderful listeners. They're so good at listening. And the second thing I just want to say is my favorite thing, I get excited. I'm like, my favorite thing about this particular platform is all the stuff that you guys have on the back end. That's my favorite. And I only listed a few things the other day, billing, payment, scheduling, and that was all I could come up with at the moment. But I know there's like a long list of things on the back end that when you first start teaching as an independent teacher, you don't even know where to start with this. So to have a platform that's already got all these things built in and you don't even have to do anything, that was the tipping point for me. That's my favorite feature.
That's awesome. And like what Laurent just said too is like, we just released a lot of features more today, including everything you just mentioned, and he'll show you us in a second. But I love the idea too, what you're just saying, even if you're just starting out, you could be making money tomorrow with Schoolified, today even, right? Today. Oh. You can set it up. If you have students ready to go, even one student, thank you, Laurent, for that. You could start making today within minutes. It's just not that difficult. You sign up, hit start, and you're going, right? Versus unless you'd have to sign up for all the subscriptions for video conferencing and links and calendar, all that stuff, and whiteboard and whatever. None of that. So anyway, I want to turn over. I want to see it. We want to show you what it looks like on the inside.
Yeah. So since you mentioned it, Ryan, today, in an hour, in 2 hours, in 30 minutes, if you're fast enough and can get a student in the classroom. Right. I want to thank you personally, Allison, because in one of those focus groups, you mentioned, I just want to start class now. Okay. So we did just that. We have this new thing on the homepage, which is invites classroom to invite students to classroom now. And it's as easy as clicking the button, defining the session name like you would do in Google Calendar, meeting with.
Are you showing we can't see your screen.
Oh, you can't see my screen? I'm actually sharing my screen. So why is that?
Oh, you know what? Hang on.
I think Allison's got to click it. Oh, there we go.
Oh, here we go.
There we
Okay,
go.
so
And they can
Still
see us,
learning
too.
right here. Thank you. Thank you guys for being patient.
It's fine.
So we've redesigned that homepage, and now on that homepage, we did exactly what you asked us for, Allison, but you were not the only one, in all fairness, is you can invite students in 2 minutes,
Oh,
okay?
Sorry.
And it's,
I'm still learning. I'm so sorry,
yep,
Laurent.
that's
There we
fine.
go.
Here we
There
go.
we go.
Yep, it's gone again.
There we go. There we go. We're good, Laurent.
Okay, so you just click that button, start class now. You put a session name like English class. You put when it's going to be, like you would do in a Google Meet, and you say, well, for me, it's 4:44, so I'm going to say it's going to be 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. I hit next. I say how many students I want in that meeting. So from 1 to, let's say, 7. I define how much I want to charge for this. I accept. And boom, I'm done. I just need to provide the name of the students, which I have, or just add a student by providing some small details like their name, their parents' name, because parents have to pay, and they're invited, they receive an email, parents pay, they're in your class. Done.
Done.
Oh.
So you could, it's for a single one-off session, just like that. So you can even schedule it for like 15 minutes from now, or you can schedule it for this Friday, and it provides a link to them, send it to mom and dad, and it's done.
And it's done.
So and they will pay in advance. I mean, the payment is taken care of. Payment
Everything is taken care of.
Schedules
They
and
pay.
them. All of these things. Oh, I love this so much.
There's a question there that says, is this useful for ESL? Allison, what do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And let me say, I was just talking to another ESL teacher earlier today, Katie Prescott. She has created Abridge Academy curriculum, and she's wonderful. She and I were talking about the different platforms. And one thing as ESL teachers that you have to keep in mind is that we're all teaching different people at different ages, different levels. Everybody's going to want something specific to what they're doing. So this one, I think, is useful for all levels, absolutely, because it's your whiteboard classroom. You've got your classroom, and then so you can do anything in the classroom, and then you've got all of the, like I said, the behind the scenes stuff, which I love. And I forgive me for forgetting to mention the classroom, because that's really important too. It's just that I love the behind the scenes stuff. So absolutely, ESL, absolutely. Yeah.
And thank you,
Yeah.
Allison, because this is a perfect segue into a second feature that we just released. Because the beauty of everything we did, I said it in the introduction, is that Zoom is great when you're doing a one-on-one. As soon as you start getting 2, 3, 4, 5 students, and you're trying to monitor their attention, you're trying to focus on what they're doing, you're trying to understand what's happening behind the scene, and you don't want to give them host control and see what's happening and then bring in another type of content or tool. That's what Classroom is all about. It's completely redesigned learning environment, which was built for students. It was built for education, not a business software, which is kind of repurposed for education. But to get there to using Classroom, you have to go through that whole process to actually understand what's so different. So yes, we have videos that show Classroom, but you want to practice it yourself before you go live. And that's exactly what we did with this new function, which is called Explore and Practice using the Schoolified Classroom. What we do here is that without even going through the whole process of setting up a class or whatnot, you can actually create a test classroom that you can practice with. And it's as easy as selecting a subject, like let's say creative arts or English language arts, choosing a grade. You hit continue, and we're going to generate on the fly a classroom that you can test with 3 fake students. And that's it. And you can start the demo class. And I'm going to share another screen, which is the one I'm doing right now. Let's see. How can I stop sharing this screen? I'm learning as well, Allison.
That's all right.
Do you have any questions right now while he's doing that, Allison?
Yeah, actually, I see we've got 2 questions that have come up. The first one says, is there a fee to use your platform?
hold on to that thought.
Okay, we'll get back to that one then.
We'll get back to that,
we'll get
but
back to that one.
I must say right now, I'll just say it, it's entirely free up until a minimum of December 31st. But you can get it free for a lifetime. So if you're curious about that offer, hold on to it and we'll
Okay,
go
so
into
we've
the
got
details.
Put a pin in that one. We're going to come back.
Okay.
And this one says, so does all this work for students in China, WeChat payment platform, etc.? And you guys, you use Stripe, which
Yes.
is usable in China as well. And I know when I use Stripe, it ends up as a WeChat payment, even though I'm not on WeChat. So I don't know. Do you guys know
So
the?
China is very specific. We
Mhm.
could technically, it's not a technical issue. The problem is legal. And to do business in China, you have to be incorporated in China. So not only will users, they potentially will have problems, okay, but we might have problems as well. So right now, I would say if you want to, go for it, but there might be issues and you wouldn't want to take money from clients and have to deal with like reimbursement and all that stuff because they can't use the system or whatnot.
So I'll let you guys know too, China is probably one of the bigger places where a lot of the independent teachers are teaching,
yes,
because so many of us came from those Chinese companies that kind of rooted and booted us out of the country about a year ago. So just kind of, I know you guys are listening to your teachers. So I just want to, you put that bug in your ear that for ESL
it will
teachers
come.
is
It will come.
amazing.
It will come,
Amazing.
Allison, and every person who's asking the question, it will come in due time where we are ready to actually move and incorporate in China to not be under, to accept to be under the scrutiny of the Chinese government, because what it also means is that we have to separate data. Also, from a US legal perspective, is that all the data that we have in the classroom needs to be isolated and stored and accessible by the Chinese government.
Now, I would love for you to just really briefly let people know about COPPA. COPPA?
COPA.
COPA. It sounds like a
COPA,
yes. Trying to say copper or something. Yeah.
So COPA is very important, and it's something that we pay a lot of attention to. But beyond just COPA, which stands for Children Online Privacy Protection Act, it's a mouthful. Is actually the notion that any children under the age of 13 needs to be protected. Seems pretty obvious, right? Is that data on children is very sensitive. Data on humans is very sensitive. We saw what happened with the downfalls of everything was happened was like the leaks and the data leaks was, which happened every single day. And the big ones from Facebook is that data can be extremely sensitive, and data on children can be extremely sensitive. So there is a regulation specifically for children, which in the US, and it's the same either the way in Europe, it's the same in many other markets, whereby any online platform, regardless of the online platform and what it is, whether it's a game, whether it's an education platform, whether it's video conferencing or anything, before a child under 13 can use that system, the platform owner needs to get verifiable parental consent for usage. And that verifiable parental consent can go into many forms. It can be a signed paper. And when I'm saying a signed paper, it's actually signed, okay? It can be a form of payment. And that payment needs to be itemized. So it can't be part of bulk payment. Like, so for example, Apple Pay, to get verifiable parental consent doesn't work. Because when you receive your invoice from Apple Pay, there might be multiple things in your receipts. Okay, so that does not work. So you need to get that consent. And that consent is extremely important, because if you don't get it, you could have a big lawsuit, and platformer like myself could have it, but the actual user of the platform, meaning the teacher, could get sued, and sued big time. Okay.
So that I know is going to affect some teachers in other countries, but that's primarily affecting American
So
teachers
it's
working
true
with
for the
American
US because it's
students.
COPA, but in
Yeah.
EU it's GDPR, and every single market has some kind of form of protection for children. So the reason why I mention that is that it's becoming more and more scrutinized, and that when you look, I would ask yourself one question if you're a tutor, is when you're using a system online with some kids who are under 13, did you share with the parents before they signed up all the details of the platform, the data that they're collecting, how they're processing, how it's going to be used? And did you get acceptance from those parents that they were okay to use the platform?
Mhm.
If the answer to that question is no, you're under the scrutiny of a specific law and you're doing something which is illegal. Okay. So
So that's,
all of
and
those
I think
teachers who are using Zoom, for instance, if you have not shared the privacy policy of Zoom with parents, you're not following COPA guidelines in the US.
okay. So these are, I think, really important things for the teachers to be aware of. But I really, honestly, I want to get back to what you guys are doing.
Yeah. Yes.
I think that's what the COPA, I think, is really important. But
It's
to
pretty
teachers,
critical,
I
but
think
it's boring.
this part is, yes, this is the part that's more interesting to all of us, I think, for sure. And we do have a question that says, is this for the US only? I'm a Canadian ESL teacher.
So you can absolutely use it in Canada as long, and the reason why we say it's okay, you can use it in Canada, you can use it in Australia, you can use it also to a certain extent in the UK. The reason why I mention this is because the laws in those territories are very similar in terms of how consent is acquired. So as long as you're okay to accept payment in dollars, because we only accept payments in dollars right now, and then convert through Stripe to whatever currency you're using, and parents are okay to accept those conditions, you're good to go. We will be localizing over time to go through the specifics. But yes, Canada, we have a few teachers in Canada right now using our system.
Cool.
So
And
let's
I'm
see that
really,
demo.
So
yeah,
yes,
yes, that is what we're here for, is the demo for
yes.
sure.
So I was sharing that screen,
Yes.
and if you remember, just before I was like trying to navigate to that screen, I just created a class with some demo students, and like an experienced classroom with some demo students. Right now, I have all of those details and credentials for those students. I can use it on another browser screen. I can share it with my friends. I can share it with my life partner, or with a student who I know really well, i.e. my children. So I do not fall under those previews of COPA. But you can experience classroom exactly as if you were in the real world. You can share, you can use some of those functions that we have, like being able to switch different cameras, like using the whiteboard, excuse me, and being able to draw on the whiteboard. As I'm doing right now, I could be loading documents. If I had multiple students as I have right now, but they're not logged in, I could see actually what they're doing in real time. So if those students were logged in, I could see what they're doing on screen. This is Classroom.
Laurent, could you show Allison, like, for an ESL tutor as well? Like, if I imagine Allison, I've never sat in an ESL course. But again, like, what would be, Allison, what would be like one of the top features you would need?
Okay, that's a great question. So absolutely, being able to draw, just as Laurent showed us, typing things on there. Oh, look at this. Did you upload the video into the classroom like this?
I just did, because I've prepared part of the Schoolified is having the ability to build lessons in the way you want. So you could take your Google Slides and import them directly in the lesson.
Nice.
But what's more interesting is that inside the lesson itself, you could actually build formative assessments. You could actually build, and this is really like a very basic kind of lesson, which I use for demo. I should probably use a better one. But you can have like multiple choice questions. You can have like fill in the blanks. You can have people kind of read out loud. All of this is baked in the system. And the best part of it is that you're going to be collecting all that data for assessment for those students and being able to actually have a report card on it in progress.
Cool. So
Okay, so
anybody could get on there today, open up one of these practice classrooms and
Mhm.
practice with all of these tools, or just play around with all these tools that you're talking about. They don't have
absolutely.
to pay for anything to get on there.
Nope.
Nope,
Everything is free. You have all of these
100%.
tools to play with. And then if they wanted to invite one of their students, like they said, well, I've got a student tonight at 8 o'clock. I'm just going to
Yep.
invite my student and try this out with them tonight. Or if they, just wanted, like you said, wanted their son to get on another computer and start playing with it, they can do all of that today, right now,
Exactly.
anytime, no
Exactly.
cost.
In about
Exactly.
5 minutes, they could. And also, Allison, too, if folks wanted to run a real lesson with a student to try it as well, but all their lessons were somewhere else and they don't want to spend all that time porting over lessons just for an experiment, you can use, Laurent's going to pull it up right now. Oh, we have a web browser built in. So imagine your lessons are on BitPaper or something like that. You could still, just use the.
I'm going to have fun for a second.
Okay.
I'm actually in my classroom going to be sharing StreamYard.
Ah, cool.
It's going to be like an ad infinitum. Yeah. So here he is in the classroom sharing StreamYard.
Sharing StreamYard, sharing
Right.
StreamYard.
And then I'm seeing what I'm sharing. If my students were on the other side,
Yep.
they would actually see. I mean, now it's going to get a bit clunky, but they would actually see the StreamYard being shared. No, you can't see it right now, but.
So again, you don't have to spend all that time porting everything over just for an experiment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could just use the whiteboard. You just put it on the web browser.
Just put your links in there.
Yeah.
So your web browser is within the whiteboard as well? I mean, those
So
are they two separate
the web
locations?
browser is a separate experience. It's like, forget about web browser, is screen sharing. So you're screen sharing anything. It could be your Google Slides, or it could be your web browser. It could be anything. Okay.
Right.
But you can have both coexist.
Okay, cool.
You can have both coexist and switch from one to the other.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we do have another real quick China question as you're going on. I don't want to miss this because, like I said, our teachers are definitely China teachers.
Yep.
And just wondering about the stability in China. Laurent, I know you talked about this a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you have a sense of how stable it'll be if we
do
a class?
The reality is that we use the Amazon cloud infrastructure for all distribution. Okay, so our development team, for example, is in Vietnam. So yes, it's not China. Okay, but it's pretty far from where we live.
Right.
So we use cloud infrastructure, which means that we have a distributed network. So it works well anywhere. So I'm not concerned about the technology aspects of it. Okay. Again, I'm more concerned about the legality and the compliance and being sure that you guys are not creating also problems for your own clients. Again, it's their responsibility.
Right. But I think it's great that we've made people aware and people can do some research now on their own.
Yep.
So, but that's an important question about the stability in China for sure. So show us what else you've got going on in here.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to share again to share the right tab.
And I appreciate everybody taking the time to ask questions today. Yeah. This is really good because once again, these may or may not be things that the Schoolified team has thought about or has come up in a focus group. So these are really valuable questions for all of us.
So we covered two things. We covered this. We have Classroom. You want to test Classroom. This is what we call demo Classroom, which is what we showed before. We saw invites to Classroom now, which is, you know what? I don't want to go through the whole thing of setting up my tutoring business. I just want to try this out, see if it works for me. I'm going to invite a student, which I have in 30 minutes. I'll go through the class. I don't even have any content which is prepared. I'll just share my screen, use a whiteboard, and just have a conversation, right? You can do this. You collect the payments. It's on your bank account. Done. But now you want to go a bit serious. You want to say, well, you know what? I actually want to build my business. And that's where the full Schoolified you knew, Allison, comes into play. And you can do everything that you need. Build your profiles, build your schedule, build all those things, right? And we do a lot of things like that. If you have your own website, we have a way of taking all those functions and bringing onto your website. So you have your own branding. You want to say, oh, I just want to use your consultation feature, which is connected to your calendar. Boom, you connect it on your website. You want to have like a tutoring service that you want to bring on your website. You create that widget, what we call the widget, you deploy it on your website. But we've actually enhanced those services and changed a bit the menu. I don't know if you remember, but here was a menu which was called courses. I'm actually
the one you got to show us your screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's me. It's me. Just talk to me, Ryan. I'm the one who's not paying attention.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So,
Still
and I
learning.
should have watched your StreamYard to see that I was not sharing my screen. But so I was saying, we went through this, which is practice classroom. You invite that student, and then now you want to build your tutoring services, which has lots of stuff. And before, we had just one type of service, which is courses. We've actually split that now in 3, or I should say in 2. We have what we call pre-scheduled classes. So that invite student to classroom now, it's kind of pre-scheduled because maybe in 5 minutes or 3 days from now, but it's a one time. You have the normal course, which is, I have a course which is across 6 weeks, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Or you have now a new feature, which is called on demand. On demand, what that is that you're going to be opening up your calendar for those one-time sessions that students want to book in a one-on-one. And we're giving you the ability to highly customize that service and do as many of those services as you want. So you have, as you say, instant class, pre-scheduled, and on demand. On demand, you're going to put a service title, like, for example, how should I say? Give me an example of a service you'd like to offer, Allison. Like,
I would like to offer an ESL consultation for anyone, for a new student.
So ESL consultation, and it's going to be, it's going to be, let's say this, it should be reading and writing, but whatever.
That's what,
You're going to say
it's everything. Yeah.
It's going to be let's say 4th, 5th grade, roughly. And then you want to set when that's scheduled, when you want to offer those services. So it might be ongoing. It's something evergreen. Or you might want to say that it's, for the next 2 months, because you want to try this out. You want to define the duration of your session, and you're going to say maybe it's 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 45 minutes. Let's say it's 30. And then you're going to have the ability to tap into what you have defined as your general availability, or use specific times for which you want to offer this. So let's say Monday from 9 a.m. to 11:30. And that means that you're going to have blocks of 30 minutes, which are going to be available on Mondays. And we're just going to say it's Monday, right? And then you're going to have advanced settings. That's if you really want to customize this. So how many hours or days in advance do students need to schedule before class begins? What are the number of maximum allowed sessions per day for this service? So let's say.
So can I just jump in and make a comment while you're talking about this? I want to make it a little bit relatable for those of us, those teachers who have worked for companies like VIP Kid, for example. You could do within 24 hours, like a last minute class. You could open it up, and 30 minutes out from the class, somebody could book it. So this is basically the same thing. You can open it up to be booked at any time, and then you're offering like this window of time within which those folks cannot book it any longer. So maybe an hour out. So you can just open up like if you don't have anything on Monday, open it up because you've made contacts, you've given them the website, and people can come in and book this. Mm-hmm. But you can make, and I believe it says that you've got the maximum.
So we're saying,
how many time allowed?
So how many hours or days in advance should people book? Because you don't want to have that last minute thing where you have your schedule
exactly, and
open,
that's it.
And like 30 minutes before when you're supposed to be available, but nobody books, somebody books, and you're like, oh, pardon my French. I have somebody who registered. So you want a bit of advance notice, but you can customize that down to the minute. Obviously, that's probably not something you want to do. The other option is how many of those events are you willing to accept within a day? So do you want only 3 blocks, 4 blocks, 5 blocks? And then further enhancements is maybe you don't want to take one of those paid classes, without first talking to the parents to define the objectives. If you haven't talked to the parents before, they won't be able to book, but you can decide that they are allowed to still book without even knowing who they are.
That's
And then
great.
you also have the option of giving the parents the ability to manage rescheduling by themselves, so that last minute, oh, I can't do it, blah, blah, blah. I can't do it. Can we do it tomorrow? And then you don't want to go through the back and forth. You want to allow parents to actually reschedule by themselves.
This is so great. You have so much freedom to adjust this the way that you want
to. It's really up
to.
to you
I love
how
that.
you customize it.
Laurent, we had an interesting question, which I think is important for right now. Katie Prescott had asked, can you schedule multiple times per day? So like 9 to 11
Absolutely.
and 2 to 5.
Oh, within those
like 2 windows per day, like let's say a Monday.
So right now, no. Right now, no. But you can actually work around the system by just blocking time on your agenda. So let's say you have like from 9 to 5. You want to offer, let's say, a block from 9 to noon, and then you want to take between noon and 4 p.m. you're off. So what you would do is that and then again from 4 p.m. all the way to 7, you want your second block. Right. What you would do is you would put yourself available from 9 to 7, but then on your schedule, on your calendar, you would just put it in the event where you're booked, so people can book.
on your calendar on Schoolified.
On your Google calendar, right?
And when we say, it's a good point that you're raising, is you calendar on Schoolified, but it's actually your real calendar, because we give you the ability to connect to your Google calendar.
That's right.
And it's all synced.
Awesome.
Right. So Schoolified is seeing the events on your calendar, and then it won't make available. Like if you have an event, like again, so all you do is you say I'm available from 9 to 7, and then you just go to your Google calendar and put a block of private event or something from 12 to 4, and Schoolified will read that, and it will not make available that slot from 12 to 4. Right.
I forgot that it was synced. That's so great. That's so great.
Exactly.
So we do have another couple of questions. If we can get to those. Can you set up the classroom before inviting the students? So say so you've gone ahead and you've moved your stuff over, you've migrated, you can get into the classroom and it's set up, and you can leave and you come back and it's still there.
And that's exactly, so I kind of showed this during, I was doing kind of a demo on the demo classroom, is I pulled all of my lessons and content from what I call my lesson library. And my lesson library is what I have here, which is my lesson composer. And I don't know, I went really quickly, but I did a lesson which was called Understanding Clouds Part 1. And that lesson is right here. It's all of my sequence of different contents I have that I've prepared in advance. And I have a lot of flexibility in the type of content I can actually do. I can load YouTube videos. I can create multiple choice questions. I can take any kind of Google Doc, slides, whatnot, and import them. And all of those can be prepared. So I am sure every single teacher is much more organized than I am, and has all their lesson plans probably prepared. So you can take and maybe they're on Google Drive, by the way, and maybe they're in Google Docs. You can import all of those into lessons, prepare your lesson plans, lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, and then repurpose those lessons as much as you want. And the beauty of it is that it's always going to be synced. And I'll just show you a quick hack. Maybe you don't even know, Allison. I'm going to show you this. For example, it was in the lesson I shared during the demo. As you see, this is a Google slide. It's synced. It's called synced here at the top. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to be editing this presentation. I'm going to be doing I'm going to take this as an example. This is my
I think
lesson.
You're on a different tab now.
Am I?
Okay.
And I can't shift tab easily on this.
So it opened your Google Drive. Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah. Okay. Well, all I wanted to say is that if I modify this on my Google Drive or my Google Doc, automatically gets synced back. So I don't have to do anything, right? So you build once and you repurpose for a lifetime.
You guys have some fantastic features. I'm really, really, really loving this.
So I don't know
All
if
right.
that, I suspect that answered the question, but yes, you can prepare your schedule,
Yes,
and
I
then
just
you have all of your
prepare
lessons,
everything
and
on
those
there.
lessons can be for something that you've prepared in advance, but you can also use that same lesson for one of those instant classes. Here I have, I don't know, I have like a few lessons which are all mock-ups and things, but over time, you'll have potentially hundreds of lessons that you can search. All of those lessons can be tagged with like keywords so you can find them easily. So it's very easy to then, while you're in class, actually, to say, oh, you know what? This is not working for you. Let me pull one of my other lessons I have in library. And boom, you go into your library, you pull it up, and you teach it.
Yep.
Nice. I think this is fantastic. This is phenomenal. Yay. All right,
Okay.
I'm gonna put up. We've still got one more question. I don't want to forget that we've got it, and this was from about 5 or 10 minutes ago. So I'm thinking this is when we were looking at the scheduling part of it, but I'm not 100% sure. But it says who sees this and where is it advertised? So I'm
Yes.
not sure if this is asked. Maybe you understand the question, and I'm
Yes, I do.
not really sure.
So,
Okay.
so we're not, I said at the beginning, we're not in the business of building another OutSchool or Varsity Tutor or building a marketplace where you're all competing against each other. We believe that tutors who actually want to grow their business need to own their business. And to own your business, you have to be responsible for driving it. So we give you the ability to publish any of your courses entirely free. And we have a whole way of, and I can probably show it here directly, and this will shift. All the teachers who desire and who want to have the ability to publish it, and it's just pulling up, have all the ability to show the classes they're offering. Okay, so for example, Amanda here has published a course. It's 2,917 class. So clearly she was testing because the cost of it is quite expensive. 900.
About
$1 million. That's one heck of a cake.
Hey, that takes care of my income right there.
Okay, so Amanda has decided to publish something. I'm hoping somebody's going to book it for her. Absolutely,
yeah, that'd be amazing.
It would be amazing. So you have the ability to publish this, and then either you publish it on our portal, or you can actually share that link in social media or whatnot. But
So
what I mentioned,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, what I mentioned at the beginning is that what we wanted you to do, and sorry, I'm doing like the back button, which is something you should never do, is that once your course is prepared and you're ready to market, you have the ability to use what we call, and I'm going to go here, I'm going to take a random course, is that you have the ability to either share it or to do our widgetizer. And this is what our widgetizer is all about, is that you're going to be able to implement on your website what we call a parent dashboard. So like the parent area, right? Where they can see all their students' classes, homework they have to do, payments, etc. And then you're going to have the ability to embed, and I can't show it right now because I have not enabled this. You'll have the ability to embed on your website any of our features. So you want to embed initial consultations, you have a link, you can put it in here. You want to have your, register now button. You embed it, we take care of all of the back office. You don't have to do a thing. Okay,
Can I comment on this as well, Laurent? Because one of the things I love that you can widgetize these things. I don't know who coined that word, but I love it. So you can widgetize all these things and have them on your website. But the other thing that I really like about this, especially when you're new, is that you don't have to have a website to do this.
Absolutely.
You can actually send the link to your profile page to the parents who are interested.
You make a very good point.
Because so you can go either direction. So I love that. So if you're in Wechat, Sherry's comment again, who sees this and where is it advertised?
Yep.
So Sherry, if we're in Wechat and somebody's, you're trying to make that sale, you can just, instead of giving them a link to your website, you can give them the link to your profile. You can put a video up there. You can put your image
And
up there, description. You don't even need to have a website if you don't have one. So
that is entirely true, Allison. And I'll correct what I just did. So what I said earlier is here we're seeing a public profile, right? Somebody decided voluntarily to make this visible. But that page, and you need to imagine that this page has, I don't know if you actually see the URL, you'll probably not because I'm just sharing the tab. But the URL of that page I'm sharing is very long and complicated. Unless you know it, there's no way you're going to find it.
Right.
But the good news is that that page exists in the background all the time. So it can be set as private, meaning it's not published on our portal, but you can still share it.
Ah, yeah, that's great.
Yep.
Okay.
This
it's
is so
very
good.
easy to do because you see that little button share. Here you go. I can share to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Telegram. I don't even know what this logo is.
I think that's Tumblr, maybe. I don't remember.
Possibly.
Don't even
Or
know.
just by email. I just copy it. Or if I decided to post it on Facebook, here I go. I'm not logged in on Facebook right now, but I could share it to LinkedIn, and I'm going to be opening up LinkedIn. Let's see if that works. Okay. And then I'm going to be sharing, I'm going to be doing a social post directly with all the images of my course and all that stuff. I could share it to WhatsApp or whatnot. So
and Sherry has another comment or another question, and she's asking about if she has a digital business card, she can upload Schoolified and then share it. So you can put your Schoolified link on your digital business card and share that.
You could absolutely.
Am I reading that correctly?
You could absolutely do that.
She's saying it the other way.
I think she's saying it the other way.
Yeah, you're right. So, but you could do both, right? You could upload your business card to
right here in the bio, and Laura will probably explain that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
So you could do that, and the easy way to do this is, if you have a business card or if you have flyers or whatnot, create a QR code to this page. People flash it, they arrive directly on your website, and they can book. That's it. You don't need your website.
I'm so
you can
fangirling over this, guys.
You can do a link
involved in this. That's great. I love it.
And you see Bobby, who's very prolific. She has lots of different classes right here. Each of those classes are unique links. So she could literally target and do different ads or do different flyers or do whatever she wants to actually say, oh, here's a link and there's a QR code, and people will be linked directly to that page, which would be different from this one.
Wow, Laurent, I'm so excited. And a lot of these things I knew about before, but they've been kind of back in the back part of my memory, and to see them again, this is what I'm saying about you guys have so much taken care of. I mean, you don't have to have a website. You don't have to find a platform and a place to do your scheduling and a place to do your billing and a place to do your invoicing and a place to get your payment. I mean, all of this, and as you can see, and more are here, along with the classroom itself, which is obviously very rich in the tools. And again, I didn't even realize how much you could do in the classroom. That is phenomenal. And you can play with it before you commit, but even if you commit, it's not costing you anything. And while I'm saying that, Laurent, tell us about the opportunity to have lifetime free service with you guys. Tell me how that works.
Yeah, so I'm sharing my screen. It's public information because it is published. Okay, so right now,
you're not sure. Allison, can you see the screen?
No, I can open. Again, sorry.
That's okay. That's why I'm happy to help here.
Laurent, all you have to do is say, Allison, I'm sharing my screen.
I was trying to say it nicely.
Yeah. You did very well. I guess
I'll just call it out because that's how I am.
Okay. So right now, all of the things that you saw and everything that we're going to be implementing, we're not going to be implementing big releases like the one we did today. Okay. Every week. Okay. But we are taking feedback and implementing new things every week. Some of them small, some of them big. All of that is going to be free, and all the new features are going to be free until the end of the year, December 31st, 2022. If by then you have given what we call units of teaching, and a unit of teaching is one student for a class. And for a class, if you teach a class of 3 students, that's 3 units. So if you teach 20 units, which is roughly 20 one-on-ones or 2 classes with 10 students in it before December 31st, you're going to get all those features free for life. That's it.
Wow, that's great.
Okay. At that point in time, in December 31st, what will happen is that what I'm highlighting here, that solo plan, we're gonna do some features and enhanced features that are going to come in. You're going to be able to keep a solo plan, but we'll have some limitations on it. Okay, there will have some limitations on it, and everything that you have now will be $35.
Okay.
Okay, so I would say benefit from it now. Have a play with it. I'm sure that if you're already tutoring clients and one-on-ones, what is it? We're like in August. So we have August. I'm counting my fingers because that's how I count. August, September, October, November, December. That's 5 months, right? 5 months. That's 4 classes a month. Wow. 1 a week.
So to get lifetime, Allison, like imagine if you have 5 students, all you'd have to do is use Schoolified 4 times with each student before December 31st, and then you'd get it for life.
Awesome.
You know, that's 1 class a week. You know, 1 class a week, and you're done, and you get lifetime. Now there will be some enhanced features that are going to come in, and those enhanced features are being worked on right now. I just want to call it out because that's one of the things that has been asked by a lot of tutors, is that they want recording and cloud recording. Right. Now there are some legality aspects that I'm not going to bore everybody again with legal, but we will be introducing cloud video recording of all the classes, whereas we have currently cloud recording of all the content in the classes. Will actually include all the video. So what that means is that you'll be able to also say, oh, you have a student that missed a class. He still has access to the recording. You don't need to do a refund. You don't need to do anything. They can go and watch your class for later. What that means also with cloud recording is that you can have and create passive income. You can record a class, okay, and then have students go and register the class. They'll have your video of you. You'll give them exercises, and then they can do it in their own time. You have the ability to create that passive income and get the money in while you're sleeping. Okay, so there's lots of possibilities here, but you know, as any platform,
that's a great idea.
Yeah,
I hadn't thought about that. So one thing I want to put out there is, yes, right now it's free. There is a small cost to the parents. So when you are billing the parents, your amount, like if you're doing a $60 per hour class, your $60 will show up. And then on the part that the parents are paying for is $1.99. Am I
$1.99. So that's the thing, because all of this is free, but there's always a catch. Nothing is free in this world. We have to make a living, right? And because we're very video intensive, it uses a lot of video. It's a very sophisticated system. Our cost base is really kind of all that video usage and things like that. So we don't want you to pay for this amazing experience. You're teaching, you're giving the amazing experience and using our infrastructure to do it. Right, so we're adding $1.99 to every single class parents take. So if your example is perfect, you give a class for a one-on-one at $60. At $60, we're going to add $1.99 to it. You're giving 10 classes in the pre-scheduled courses, which are $20 each. So the parents pay $200 for your course or for that registration. They're going to pay $19.99 on top of it. So the parent is going to pay $219.99. You get $200. We get $19.99.
Allison, if you still wanted to advertise though for like a flat $60, all you would have to do as a teacher is set your course price to $58.01, right? And then it would show up on the other end as like flat 60.
Exactly.
That's great. So, and I want to throw a couple of things out to the teachers, number wise. First of all, that is less than you might add in for the amount that it costs you to do payment to another country. So payment is typically somewhere between 3% and 5% of whatever the fee was. So that's going to be like, if your parents are picking up the fee right now, there's you're not paying an extra fee here. So $2 on top of each class, you know, give or take, may end up being about the same amount, but you can just, as you're thinking through the numbers. The other thing I wanted to throw out is if you decide, I want to do this, I want all the features, and but I can't get my 4 students in, or I don't have time, or I sign up too late. If you think about $35 too for platform, the billing, the invoicing, the scheduling. I mean, if you start adding up what you are using right now, I'm sure it's going to come up under $35.
And the time it takes to send links, to manage,
yes,
your time savings.
Oh my
Again,
gosh.
when you invite a student,
Everything's
it sends an
automated.
email and takes care of all of it for you. While you can hit invite and then go make dinner. And meanwhile, like Schoolified will take care of like the registration, the payment, and you're not going back and forth on email and blah, 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 blah. It just handles it. So again, the money savings, just the direct money, but in the time savings as well is crazy.
Yes,
And
that's very,
time saving,
very true.
I'll just add another layer, is that you're focused on teaching. You're not distracted by different technologies. You have to manage it all in one place. So you're really focused on the teaching. You're focused on the students. You're focused on understanding what they're doing rather than trying to see what's behind that turned off camera if they're actually doing anything. You can actually see them writing in real time. Okay.
That's so crazy. That's
with a
so
click
crazy.
of a button. That's Classroom. So
Sherry has an interesting question. The current platform I use has the parents copy and paste the link into a browser like Safari in order to get into the classroom. Is yours like this, or do they literally click on link and they're in? Well, it's both. I mean, they click on the link and it takes them right to classroom.schoolified.com. So forever, like if you come to Schoolified, every class forever that like if a parent gets confused or lost, first of all, it sends them the link in the email. And then second of all, forever going forward, if anyone just wants it, it's classroom.schoolified.com. And if they just have to log in there, and every class they're registered for will be there with the link to the classroom. So it's not like this long, garbly, whatever, nothing.
And it's a super important point, I would say, Ryan. I mean, you talked about, you go and make dinner and don't have to worry about anything. I think, how many times as a teacher have you had,
Oops,
in different
that
groups?
was me. Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, Laurent.
How many times?
I see it every day, posts every day in different tutor groups and saying, oh, my student didn't show up. I sent him the link, but the parent said he didn't receive it or whatnot. But I did send it, but he was in the wrong room and he got the wrong link and that link expired. I mean, there's like dozens of those comments every single day, right? It's very easy. It's very easy with Schoolified is that there's one link. It's classroom.schoolified.com. Each student has a unique ID, and that's it. And it's going to be their family name generally, and then a secret code, which is very easy to remember, like something like Funky Parrot 323. Okay. And that's it. So the kids know. I don't have to worry about, where's the link? Where's this? Where's that? They log in, they see their schedule. They know at what time class is. And that's it. And then they have a big button that says join class. It's now. That's it.
Wow.
So no links, no excuses. So if kids doesn't show up, he really didn't want to show up.
Yeah, that's right. That's so great. So Katie has a question also about the link. She says, does it work in the Wechat browser? Is that something that you know?
I have no clue.
I have no clue either. We haven't tried the Wechat browser.
So I have no clue.
Katie, great question.
You can try it, Katie. Log in and try it out.
Katie,
exactly.
you've been tasked with a new job here. We can,
right.
we can do that. Unless Laurent, are you on Wechat?
Go for it. I mean, set up your account and try the demo classroom in the Wechat browser. That will work.
That's a good idea. Okay,
You'll
one
be
thing
able to see immediately.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. She says, haha, I'll try it. Katie's good she's so great. She'll do just about anything. She's awesome.
Great.
I do want to mention before I forget that you guys do have a Facebook group, and I am going to try to get back to that Facebook group here. And there we are, I think. Okay. So I just want to point out to teachers, you have a Schoolified Facebook group, and then you also have the Schoolified Educators Facebook group. So this one, is if you're interested in learning more about Schoolified, you can go to this website. Also, as you're clicking around the Schoolified platform itself, Laurent, are you still the go-to guy in the bottom button there when people
it's not just me. It's just that I'm a lot on it.
Okay.
Laurent's really quick to answer. He's probably like, we all get a notification when someone writes in there. So like a lot of our Schoolified members team, but Laurent's always really fast.
It's like the game show buzzer. He's waiting.
Yeah.
He's waiting.
Yeah.
Because you have nothing else to do, right?
The entire team at Schoolified. So Ryan is on there. We have a support team, which is on there. We try to do, we're still, a small company, but we try to have like, pretty decent coverage, at least East Coast, West Coast, US coverage during business hours. Yeah. But more because we have some members in Europe and we have some members in Asia as well. So we try to be, we try to respond as quickly as possible. The good news though is that if you have a question and we don't respond immediately, you'll be requested to put your email and we'll get back to you immediately. So we store that conversation. So.
Yeah.
And we're really good at it. Like we respond to everybody. So like within, it's usually like, it's almost within minutes every time.
Yeah. And that's actually how I met Laurent the first time it says, do you want to try a demo? I'm like, sure. And so I open up the screen and there's Laurent. I'm like, oh, hello, co-founder of the business. Yeah. So yeah, be prepared. You don't know who it'll be. So Sherry asks, can you show us how the payment works? I have packages and they pay for 30 classes before I teach them. Oh,
so it's super easy. The way we look at this is everything we do is always prepayment. Always prepayment. We don't want you to chase after the money. Okay. So I have two answers for you. Is it Sherry?
It's Sherry.
Yes. So if you have a student and you're going to give them 30 classes, you basically build a course with 30 classes, and then you just change the time based on whenever you need. So you have all those prepaid classes which are there, and then you move those classes around if you need to. That's the first part of the answer. The second part of the answer is that we're building one of those features which has been requested, which is the ability to mix and match type of services, meaning pre-scheduled and on demand. And you can actually package those together. So you could you have a group class on one side, and then you have a one-on-one tutoring that you can ask on demand. And that will help us actually build some more sophisticated packages. Like, for example, I want to buy 30 classes entirely on demand, and I just pick and choose the time when I want to select them. Okay. So there's ways around that, but any kind of, when you think about package, think about you're hooking up a client on a commitment. That commitment, you put it on the pricing, you set up a course. Now, what is interesting, we didn't go into those details because we could talk for hours about it, is that we have flexible payment systems, meaning that anything which is beyond, for example, 28 days in duration of a service, you can split up the payment weekly. So if you have 30 classes and you think that your student is going to work with you like twice a week, if my math is right, that means that you're going to have like 15 weeks of classes. Then you're going to sell that package of 30 classes for 15 weeks, roughly. And then every week, they're going to get charged for 1/15 of that package.
So you can give them the option to pay up front, like the whole thing, or
like a week at a time.
Or you can give them the option to do either or, right? So it doesn't, which is great. Yeah. And so they'll just be charging. Again, that's all automatic. So you don't have to, once it's set up, they put their credit card in, it'll just charge them every week. And you don't, again, you're making dinner, doing something else.
Wow. And you get there again, there's just so many options in doing this. It's kind of mind boggling. So
one thing we discovered is that every tutor is so unique, right? This tutor likes this and this tutor doesn't. And it's like, as we're getting all this feedback, it's like trying to build a system for every situation under the sun. But that's what it needs, because every tutor they're running their own business, right? And so the more options we keep building, more options, more flexibility. And so that you don't have to be forced into a mold. If you come with Schoolified, we're trying to make it so it's a tool that you can manipulate and use to better your own business according to your own needs.
Yeah. So guys, get on there and try it out. There's so much to do, and don't, because there are so many opportunities, don't worry about getting overwhelmed, because if you have questions, these guys are, like we said,
Always.
very accessible. And if you have input, obviously they want your input as well. So, Sherry's got one more question in line with what you guys were talking about. Oops. All right, I'm getting there, I promise. All right, she says, I have one student that's already paid me for the 30 classes. Can I change to your platform with no trouble, even though they've paid me? Oh, good question.
So this is a very good question. Let's talk about it, Sherry, because there is one item that we have to cover absolutely, which is, again, I'm sorry, COPA compliance, legality, being able to get parental consent, etc. And the only way we can actually get that consent is either through paper or through a payment. Okay. But we can absolutely do that. We just have to figure out the logistics, which would probably involve, I'm thinking like out loud in this kind of real time, which would probably involve either getting the parent to actually provide a signed paper that they accept that some data is going to be shared and blah, 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 and stored through Schoolified. That might be an option. The other option is that they re-register to a course on Schoolified, except the cost would be zero and we handle payment between us.
Laurent, what's the best way for Sherry to get on your calendar?
That's pretty easy. You go on schoolified.com, or better, create an account on Schoolified, and then you'll go in the chat function, which is that little question mark on the side,
on the bottom,
and then
right.
Book a demo, and it'll be on my calendar.
Yep, hit book demo and you're on Laurent's calendar.
Yeah.
That's
so everybody get in there. Yeah, I was gonna say, everybody get in there, book a demo. So yeah, those are, you guys had great questions today from our teachers. That was wonderful.
Really good.
Yeah, love it.
And Sherry is raring to go. I love it. I love it.
Good.
Yeah, so great. Well, guys, you have given us so much of your time today. I really appreciate it. And I'm so appreciative of the teachers who stopped by. And I am going to do my best to make sure that this is posted on our Facebook group. And so hopefully people will get to see it again. And one way or the other, they will. We've got that much covered. But yeah, so if other people have questions and they want to get in touch with you, it's the same thing. They can either get on the website, get on Laurent's calendar, or go ahead and start playing around in the platform itself. And that's another way. Or you can get onto their Facebook group and tag Ryan, or tag Ryan in this group as well, and Laurent in this group as well. So tag them if you've got a question, and we'll get
Allison,
you there.
Are you going to be posting this on YouTube by chance?
I certainly can. Yeah.
Great. And we would love to promote it too. We really appreciate your time and your questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if we want to put it on your Facebook group as well, we could put it there too.
This is a great session for sure. Lots of
so much information.
I can't go through the list of all the great people who got to ask questions, but we love questions. We love challenges. We love wrenches. We were talking about that, Allison, just before. Throw a wrench at us. We love it. Our developers love it even more. I mean, I've learned over time that give a developer a hard challenge, they're going to be the most excited person forever. So the harder they get, the happier we are. So that's our DNA. Give us problems, we're trying to solve them.
That's right. Well, thank you guys again so very much. And thank you again to everybody who came and listened live, and to those of you who will be watching the recording later. We really appreciate it.
Thank you,
All right,
Allison.
guys.
Thanks, Allison.
Thanks again.
First, you did great, Allison, I must say.
Thank you. I only cut you out for like a half a second, so I'm feeling pretty good about it.
That was good. That was good. That was perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.